It's been called the Forgotten War and set the stage for 4 decades of great power conflict. But in Taiwan, the country's role in the Korean War is rarely discussed. On July 27, 1953, the United Nations, North Korea, and China signed an agreement to suspend hostilities, bringing a peace that lasts to this day. It marked the end of 3 years of fighting over the Korean peninsula between the Communist North, backed by China and the Soviet Union, and the South, backed by a UN coalition made up mostly of US forces. China's entry into the war changed the tide of what seemed destined to be a victory for the South. Beijing committed over 1 million troops to the North's aid in late 1950. Amid fierce fighting, many Chinese soldiers were captured by UN forces. But with the Chinese Civil War still ongoing, there were now 2 Chinas the soldiers could claim to belong to: the newly established People's Republic of China and the Republic of China on Taiwan, where the defeated Chinese nationalists had retreated. At the time, the ROC held China's UN seat and had US support, so Chinese prisoners of war could choose to go back to China or come to Taiwan. This was one reason the war continued for as long as it did.
It was a period people generally call negotiating while fighting. What they were fighting over? Actually, they were fighting over prisoners, because the negotiations over territory was finished by the end of November. On November 27th, 1951, both sides reached agreement on demarcation line.
Of the 20,000 Chinese prisoners of war captured by UN forces, 14,000 came to Taiwan. It was a moral victory for Taiwan's nationalist government. The Chinese prisoners of war were deemed anti-communist heroes in Taiwan, and most of them were former soldiers in the Nationalist Army who had been captured by the communists on the battlefields during the Chinese Civil War.
我叫刘纯简，我是河南卢氏县人。
Liu Chunjian is now 91 years old. He lives in a quiet dormitory for Navy veterans in Taiwan's northern port city of Geelong. But this quiet setting belies the turmoil of his younger years. His family were branded counter-revolutionaries by the local communists after World War II. He joined the nationalist forces to seek revenge until his superior officers surrendered in 1949. Liu then became a soldier in the PLA and was sent to fight in Korea. When he was captured, he didn't hesitate to come to Taiwan.
共产党他有个政策，就是你只要投降了敌人了，你回去就是叛徒。所以你哪有人那么傻瓜回去遭倒霉去啊？故意回去遭倒霉，明明可以到别地方去，干嘛我也回去遭青山斗争啊？
Liu says he doesn't regret his decision, cherishing the freedom he's enjoyed in Taiwan. But not all the prisoners of war who ended up here chose to come. Many of them were instead coerced by agents from Taiwan's authoritarian Kuomintang government.
我叫赵英奎，1934年出生的，在海南是参加了18兵团60军1804538团。
Like Liu, Zhao Yinghui was also a former nationalist soldier captured by the communists during the Chinese Civil War. After the Korean War, he actually wanted to go back to China. But while in UN detention, he was repeatedly beaten up and forcibly tattooed with anti-communist slogans by nationalist agents. The tattoos made it impossible for him to return home.
他们里头有公板啦，有像那个板球板子啦，什么东西有这个东西啦。他们会讲英文呢，美国人都不管啦。他在铁丝网里头，我们在帐篷里头啊，就是你不听不吃，你要想回答就把你打死。
After coming to Taiwan, Zhao was thrown in jail for 10 years over suspicions about his loyalty. It wasn't until the 2000s that the black mark against him was removed as part of Taiwan's reckoning with its authoritarian past. Liu and Zhao are just 2 among thousands who came to Taiwan after the Korean War. But they're some of the very few still here, 70 years on. Their stories of heroism, heartbreak, and separation are a part of Taiwan's history, one that should not be forgotten. James Lin, Justin Wu, Sam Hui, and Ed Moon for TaiwanPlus.